Hi everyone, I'm Lena and thank you for tuning in. If you're watching today, you're here to hear my top 10 tips on where to start travelling Australia, whether that be full-time, part-time, casual. We are doing it with the end date indefinitely, and there was a lot to prepare to get started, so it can be a very daunting process, and I've wanted to help people who are thinking about it and playing with the idea, give people some guidance on how to get started. I will be referring to the computer today, so if I'm looking up and down, it's only because I have a lot of information and a lot of content that I want to provide. I will have all this written information in the write-up below on the video, so feel free to actually go into depth as well too and read the whole article for further information. So tip number 1 is, how are you going to fund your trip? So this is the first point on where to start. You need to start thinking about how you're going to fund your trip. Will you be working full-time or part-time on the road for a regular income stream? Do you have savings, or are you planning on saving and adding to your nest egg? Do you have money from investments or shares, rental properties perhaps? Or are you selling a business? So before you get committed on your journey, you need to get clear on how you're going to fund your trip. If you don't have the money, then you've got to think about where that's going to come from. Everybody's needs, everybody's situation is different, and no one's going to have the same, they're not going to be the same. So it's very important that you can work out the fine details and get clear on how you're going to sustain your new lifestyle. So the question is, how are you going to fund your trip? That's the first thing that you need to think about to get started before anything. Number 2, get a clear overview on your current expenses. So that's tip 2. Get a clear overview on your current expenses. This is a very important process. It's not fun. You need to delve deep. You need to go in and start recording and writing down and everything that you spend. So are you one that loves to get your nails done? Do you like coffees? What do you spend on groceries? What do you spend on alcohol? What do you spend on your regular entertainment? Fuel, vehicle registration, pet insurance, health insurance. Go into the nitty-gritty of everything. There is a lot to think about in terms of details, and when we say everything, we mean everything. Go into all the nitty-gritty and break it all down. You need to know the baseline as to what you are realistically spending, because if you're not aware of what your baseline is, then you're going to come across all these hidden expenses along the way, and a trip that you're planning for 18 months might lead into 12 months because you didn't account for all those expenses. Now you might have to do this over the course of a month or 2 months. Really take the time to jot down everything that you are spending. If it helps, you can break this all down into a spreadsheet. That's what I've done. Put into subcategories such as home expenses, vehicle expenses, personal items, food, alcohol, eating out, pets, if you have kids, entertainment. Write down some subcategories and then add all your expenses under those subcategories. And if you're not aware, just you need to stop and think about what it could be and just provide estimates. Really have a think about this. And like I said, it might take a month or a couple of months to really get the full details out. One thing that you might want to do to help you analyze your expenses is to actually look at your bank statements. Analyzing what you spend on your account, so checking off on your account, seeing what you spend, and then putting that into your categories so you can actually match them up and work out what you're spending as well too. If you're buying a lot of things with cash, maybe it's actually a good thing to actually put it on the card instead. That way you can actually keep track of what you're spending. Or if you are paying for things with cash, make a note, write down what you have purchased. That way you can get that clear idea of your expenses. Okay, moving on to step 3 is, how do you want to travel? It comes to this point in time where you've got to ask yourself, how do you want to travel? Have you been dreaming of a luxurious caravan? Is it a motorhome? Is it a rooftop tent? or perhaps even a modified Sprinter van. So take some time to really think about how you want to travel. There are so many different types of travel options out there, and you've got to work out what's really going to suit your needs. And visualize yourself carrying out your normal activities, like how, if it's a cold winter's day or a rainy day and you're in a rooftop tent and you need to go to the bathroom or you need to go have a shower, are you going to enjoy yourself going outside, going off to that destination where you need to carry out all your activities? Because if it's not for you, you're not going to last 18 months, 12 months, 3 months, a lifestyle choice. So you need to really work out and delve into what your needs are, how you want to travel. So do some visualizing, work out what, how making dinner would be like, getting dressed in the morning, just simple things that you take for granted every day. So have a think about, what must-have items, what are your must-have items that you must have that you can't live without? Is it a working toilet? Is it hot water? Is it an indoor bed? Are you happy with a push-out bed? A rooftop tent? Whatever it is, you need to get clear on that. And like, your choices are going to be largely determined by your desired experience and your budget. If you need some inspiration, there's plenty of people on YouTube and Instagram. Subscribe to people's channels, follow people, see how they're living it, and then picture yourself doing the same, and then ask yourself what kind of travel is for you. It's going to be different for everyone, so just really get clear on what you really want. Step 4, what do you need to purchase to travel? So now that you've identified how you want to travel, you've got to work out what you need to do to travel this way. What do you need to do to modify your vehicle so it's ready as a tow vehicle to carry more load? Or do you need to change your vehicle altogether? Do you have a caravan, or do you need to purchase one? Perhaps you're already set up with a touring vehicle and all you need is a rooftop tent. Whichever way you've chosen to travel, you need to get clear now on what you need to purchase before you take off. This in itself, it is an in-depth process, and it's going to take some time to research. But doing your research first, getting into the nitty-gritty, getting clear on what needs to be purchased and how much it will approximately cost. It needs to be done, because if you don't get a clear picture on the costs involved, you might find that your new lifestyle choice or your 12-month trip is cut in half because you've overspent your budgets and you haven't accounted for things. So get clear on what you're going to need next. So do you need the caravan? Do you need to purchase the rooftop tent? Do you need solar panels, DC chargers, generators, inverters? Take the time to think it through. Do your research, write it all down. Again, it's going to be different from everyone, but you need to work out what you do and don't have to get started. So, because they're all going to be expenses that you're going to have to account for. So everything that you can think of. Again, this might be a process that's going to take another month or two, but trips don't happen overnight. They are months and months in the making. They might even be years in the making. It depends on your situation and your needs. It's not going to happen like that. I mean, it can for some people, but it depends on your circumstances. Step 5 is now identify the extra expenses needed when you travel. So now that you have a direction on how you would like to travel, it's now time to make a list of all the expenses you could expect to encounter traveling. So extra expenses are all those associated with traveling and things that you normally wouldn't have prior. Things can include extra fuel, caravan rego and insurance, beach permits, national park fees, toilet chemicals, ferries, Spirit of Tasmania. The travelling expenses at the end of the day are going to be different for everyone, just depending on your needs. How the size of your family, if you have pets. This is a really hard topic and a very broad topic to provide information to, because everybody's probably asking the question, well, how much do I need? What do things cost? And it is different for everybody depending on what you have. Let us know in the comments below if you are interested in seeing a video on our specifics on budgets. We can look to provide something on that. We have a house that is rented out, and we have we've got different expenses along that category, which might not be the same for other people. We have, a pet. Other people might have children. So everybody's costs are going to be different, but what we're trying to work out is the extra costs that are going to be involved. Step 6. Combine all your expenses, the current and extras. We're going to put these all into a spreadsheet together and get an overview of everything that we have. And just write it all down. Put it all down there together. And then we're going to subtract the things that we are not going to need on the road. So if you're currently renting, you're not going to have that, subtract that out. If you have mortgage payments, but you're selling your house, you're not going to have the associated costs with them, take that off the list. If you're keeping your property and you're renting it out, then keep it on the list so you can work out specifically what your expenses are, because if the rent doesn't come in and for your property, and your mortgage still needs to be paid, so you still need to allocate for your mortgage payments on your expenses, on your how much money it's going to cost you to travel. And once you've combined all of those and you've got your costs, you're going to work out your weekly and your monthly and your annual totals. So it can give you a clear understanding of how much money you're going to need to each week, month, and a year. And this is going to give you a bit of a spot where you can work with and work out what you do and don't need. When you get real on how much things are going to cost you to travel on a weekly, monthly, and annual basis, you will start to realize what you do and do not need. On that initial step where you wrote down your expenses, of your current expenses, you might have on there that you spend money on, having your coffees daily, or subscriptions to Netflix, Stan, and some other provider, and you might choose to cut that back down to one. So this is the area where you're going to get specific on what you do and do not need. And you're going to get real on your funds. Again, it's not going to happen in 5 minutes. It's going to take time. It's going to take a few weeks and a few months. It's going to take you time to really get specific on what you actually spend. So here is a time where you're going to get creative. You're going to look at all your expenses, and you're going to really work out what you do need or how much you do need to spend on an expense. So you might find that you're spending money in areas. You might find that you go shopping every week on the internet for you might find that you have an eBay fetish, like Jugsy does. And you like to buy unnecessary crap that you like to put in the shed. And you no longer need those purchases. But remember, this does not happen in 5 minutes. It takes time. It's going to take a while to get clear on exactly all your expenses. Step 7. What's your net position? Okay, you've calculated all your expenses and you've combined them. So now you should know how much it will cost you to travel on a weekly, monthly, and annual basis. You should also know what upfront things you should need to purchase. So now, what is your net position? What savings do you currently have available? And once you minus the upfront costs, what is the balance? And how long will this balance sustain your travel? All these questions are helping you to get an understanding of your current net position, to which, once you understand, you can work out what you need to do next to obtain enough funds to sustain your new trip or your new lifestyle. This then leads into the next step. How long do you want to travel? Do you want to do 6 months, 12 months, or is this a lifestyle choice for you? Your net position when you leave and ongoing cash flow available will be a big driving factor in this area. And the truth of the matter is that you need a certain amount of money to live and to sustain any lifestyle. And depending on how long you want to travel, will then help you take your next step. Step 9, set the date. You now know how you're going to fund the trip, your expenses, how you want to travel, any extra expenses, your net position, and how long you want to travel for. Fun stuff. Let's set a date. Are you going to live today, in a week, a month, or 12 months? How long you want to travel for is going to depend on your financial current position. So setting the date is going to be reflective of what you need to do financially now, between now and when you want to leave. So knowing your current net position and how long you want to travel for set that date in the future that's going to be realistic to get you to for what you need to do now to get you for how long you want to go for. And then, yeah, step 10, enjoy the moments. So that's the journey now in between. Now that you've set that date, enjoy the moment leading up to it. It's going to be, it can be a very stressful time. It can also be enjoyable time. It can be nerve-wracking time. You're going to be, could be leaving careers. You're going to be leaving friends, family. There's going to be a lot of changes. You're going to be downsizing. You're going to be putting stuff in a storage. You could be selling everything. So many things are going to change, and you're going to have nerves and butterflies and excitement all at the same time. So just enjoy that journey as you go along, because it will come around. It seems like for us, it seemed like it took forever to get there. So it was a while in the making, but it was when it comes around, it does go quickly. So enjoy it. So now you've got all the 10 juicy steps that we had to get started, and I hope they help you. And the power's now in your hands to do your research and delve further into what it's going to take you to get started. But if there's anything that we can help you with, leave us a comment, ask the question. We're more than happy to provide help and guidance to help you on your journey. But yeah, power's in your hands, so good luck with it all, and we hope to see you out there on the tracks. See ya. Power is in your hands. May the force be with you.